Welcome to this interactive session on why IT professionals struggle with work-life balance. Even though I'm not an IT professional myself, I do get a lot of clients and patients who are IT professionals and they are struggling with work-life balance and a lot of stress in their daily lives. So let's start with a short story situation, which I want all of you to imagine. Maybe you can close your eyes and imagine it. It will help you. So imagine it's 2 a.m. You're still at your desk, the soft blue glow of your monitor lighting up an otherwise dark room. The project deadline is in 2 days, and the code still keeps breaking for reasons you can't explain. You tell yourself just one more commit, but you have been saying that for hours. Your coffee's gone cold, your back aches from sitting in the same chair all day, and your phone battery has died somewhere between work calls and food delivery apps. So you open WhatsApp to check a message from your parents, seen but unanswered since morning. Beta, are you eating properly? Call us when you get home. You think you will call them after finishing the task, but you know you won't. The same after this task has stretched into days and sometimes it stretches into weeks. A friend's message sits unread in another chat, an invite for a weekend trip you declined, like the last four before it. Your college group is meeting for dinner tonight, but you were too busy. You scroll through their Instagram stories, smiling faces, laughter, the easy joy of people who aren't always perpetually exhausted. You just think, why is my life not as easy? The only voice you have heard all day was from a colleague on a Zoom call or your manager saying, is the client side bug fixed? So, does this story sound familiar to anybody of you? I just want some kind of interaction from the group. So, anybody can just tell me, does it resonate with your condition in any way? May not exactly, but in any way. I think you can just unmute yourself and speak, some of you, if then it will be good, the session.
I mean, definitely. I know I'm not a participant, I'm just a colleague, but I think we feel the stress a little extra because in our profession, we tend to work 6 days a week and not the 7. So that also compounds to the stress that we're experiencing in our day-to-day life.
Yeah. True. Thank you, Aishwarya. Anybody else who seems to be familiar with this kind of a situation? How many times have you been thinking, yeah, I will be responding to some friend or your parents, and you don't respond back, or you want to take out some time for a family thing, but somewhere you're not able to find out the right time? So, how many of you have been going through this kind of a situation? Nobody.
Yeah, I agree. So I think mostly it's what priorities are misplaced, right?
Yeah.
So we always have a conflict there. So
Can you share a personal, just one or two lines thing that you have faced maybe with the
so,
group?
so earlier, yeah, I have. So I've had burnout because I was so much involved in work.
Hmm.
Uh, or maybe you could give a positive twist to it. There's something called flow, right? You're so much involved in the work, you just forget everything around you. People, you're at work, you're at home. It just seamless, but end of the day, it takes a toll on your health and
Yeah,
also your family life. And
yeah,
it's too late by the time you realize it. So
yeah,
that's
yeah.
the issue. I've gone through that.
Okay.
So that's what I
Thank
can.
you, Shahid, for your contribution.
Yeah.
So we'll just go ahead, and I just hope that you people keep contributing a little more with more personal things. Yeah. So tell me the first word that comes to your mind when we talk about work-life balance. So how do you define work-life balance in one word? So anybody just come up with one word. What does work-life balance mean to you? Anyone, just anything. That what does it mean to you? So that we know what are we talking about today. Anyone just quickly can tell me what does work-life balance mean essentially to you? Even if it's not one word, you can just tell me what it means to you.
A healthy family and a healthy um work.
Okay. Yeah. So healthy family and a healthy work. Okay. So both are balanced. So the same person who answered, I'm sure, sorry, I'm not able to see you. So on a scale of 1 to 10, how balanced do you feel today?
Sorry, I didn't get you.
So on a scale of 1 to 10, how balanced do you feel today?
Uh, if you have seen my comment in the I mean in the chat box, I would have said that even academia is equally stressful. Actually, today I didn't had any classes, so I'm feeling very relaxed. Otherwise, I'll be stressed.
Yeah, I agree with you. Your name, please.
I'm Balaji Srikant. I'm working for
Yeah,
SRM University,
yeah.
Chennai.
So, Mr. Balaji, I do agree with you. Academia is equally stressful, and it's a very different kind of stress that goes on there. Okay.
Yeah,
All work is stressful, and work-life balance becomes a challenge in all fields, I think. And but we will see that how academia is completely a different game altogether because of very unpredictable schedules, and you
exactly.
are supposed to work all day. So even as a supervisor, I feel that when I am going back, I have a suppose a class, I'm still supposed to work on it after my working hours. So yeah, so academia is different and IT again is different. I think if IT professionals could contribute more. So there is more about deadlines and projects which you have to finish on time. So these kind of challenges are there. So anybody else wants to tell me how balanced do they feel they are on a scale of 1 to 10? Usual, just numbers, no need to explain, maybe. Okay, so we'll move on. So let's define work-life balance, because from a definition only we know what we expect. So work life balance essentially means that engagement in multiple roles. There is minimal conflict between the roles, and this leads to a balanced uh, work life. So what it means is that you are engaged in multiple roles. You are not only a employee, you are maybe a husband, you're a father, you are a supervisor, you are maybe a musician, and there is minimal conflict between these roles that is there. And when you're able to manage all these roles, almost in a balanced way, it leads to what we call a work life balance. Now, it is essential to understand the components in this kind of a thing. So first is attentive engagement in multiple roles. So you are not just having a role, you are having attentive engagement. So you are not only an employee, you are a father, you're a sibling, you're a son. So there is some kind of an engagement that you have in each of these roles. There is equal time and involvement across the multiple roles. There is minimal role conflict, and there is balanced satisfaction. So it does mean that if you're satisfied as an employee, you're more or less satisfied as a maybe a musician or a husband or whatever role that you have apart from your work. So, what it does not mean, why I am stressing this is that we cannot have an ideal situation. So, in order to understand work-life balance, we should know what work-life balance does not mean, and it is often misunderstood or oversimplified. Like it does not mean that there should be a perfect equality. So work-life balance doesn't mean spending equal amounts of time on work and personal life, which is not possible. It's about managing the priorities and creating harmony between the two, which may look different for everyone. So for one person, it may mean that, okay, I am coming back from home by 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock, and then I'm spending time with my family. For other person, it might mean something very different. It might mean the person is back by 10 o'clock in the night, but still finds some time next morning to spend some time with the family, even if the quality time is just of 1 hour, or engaging with his or her child for 20 minutes. So work life balance is not same. It doesn't mean that it will be equal for every in terms of all the roles that you are doing. So it's not a status state. It's not a one-time achievement. Work-life balance is dynamic and requires ongoing adjustments based upon your personal and professional demands. So suppose that you are occupied professionally for a long period of time, or say it is taking all your attention for some time. You do balance it out in some other way. You compensate it after 2 or 3 months in some other way. Otherwise, if you keep having that same kind of a static state, it will lead to burnout. Then we have complete separation. So it is unrealistic to have a complete separation between your work life, your family life, especially with modern technology. So how many times it happens, like, you are at your desk and you are keeping on getting WhatsApp messages, and now these have increased to social media, Instagram. I think this is something that our previous generation and generation before this did not have to deal with. So much access to technology also means that there is conflict between the areas of life. Okay, so you are in some kind of a work and you get a very personal message, so it may, you, or some kind of a fight is happening in your family group, so it may, disturb you. So it is not that you can completely separate work life, so you are only on work mode on, or your family mode on. It's unrealistic to expect that. And always being available is, it's not what work life balance means. It doesn't mean being on for both work and personal commitments all the time. Balance requires boundaries, such as disconnecting from work emails during personal time, and same applies for professional time as well. So many a times, suppose if I can share something from my profession, whenever we are taking a therapy session or with a client, or we are in a session with a client, we do follow certain disciplines, like, we switch off our phone, we keep it on silent, we ensure that during the session nothing is interrupting us. So that commitment has to be there. It doesn't mean that you work life balance means you have to be always available to your family, or you have to be always available to your work situation as well. And balance requires boundaries, such as disconnecting from work during your personal time. Also, it applies that you, during your personal time, if you keep on answering your calls, it becomes very difficult. Then work life balance is not a sign of luxury or weakness. So work life balance is not a sign of laziness or lack of ambition. It is necessary for practicing and maintaining physical and mental health, especially in a country like ours, where, having a work life balance is sometimes seen, with a negative viewpoint, I feel. Many a times it is seen that you are called lazy, or you are not a worker. Being a workaholic is actually, celebrated. So it is not that it is not same for everyone. It is not doing everything. Okay, it doesn't mean that work life balance means you have to do everything what the other person is doing. You are going on holidays, you are going on tour, you are celebrating with friends, and then you're working. It's not doing everything, but some way you are balancing and being mentally happy. And work life balance is not fixed to 9 to 5 schedule. So this I have already talked about. Now let's see what the situation is right now, the real situation. I think a lot of controversy took place last year when there were a lot of famous business people, chairmen, talking about work-life balance. So there was this famous quote from the LT chairperson, chairman, that a 90-hour work week, reignites work-life balance. Then there was another person who said that he can't go beyond 8 to 9 hours, and he supported that work life balance was important. So these are some examples, where there have been unrealistic expectation from people of having a huge work hour week in their lives. So this shows the country's condition, and it has been seen that workers in India have longer working hours than other countries. In fact, it has been found that 90% of the Indians are contacted outside their working hours. So, which is not true in major countries. They don't allow this. They are very strict with their boundaries. So, this is a major problem. This is a societal problem. This is a problem at the economic level as well in our country, that Indians have longer working hours than all other countries because the labor laws are not that strict here, and the mean weekly hours actually worked by each employed person is much more than other places. So yeah, so this is what I said. And then there is more advocacy for longer hours, and there is less emphasis on quality here. Now, why is it tough to balance in the corporate sector? So if any person from the IT sector is online, can you just tell me what is your biggest challenge in maintaining balance when you're talking about work life balance? What in your profession, what is the biggest challenge that you face? Anybody? Nobody?
Can you rephrase your question, Dr. Mahashweta, in a different way, please, if possible?
Okay, so let's whoever is present in the audience, can you tell me what is the biggest challenge that you face while maintaining a balance between your work life and your professional life, your personal life, sorry. So any specific examples or challenges, that biggest problem you feel that is there to maintain a balance? Anyone can just come up with what they feel is the biggest challenge for them when they try to make a balance between their work life and their personal life.
Maybe I can. Sorry, somebody's coming in.
No.
Yeah.
Okay.
Since nobody has opted out, I can just share my point of view. Especially since there are a high number of women participants going towards the gender perspective. So there is an issue of multiple role strain here. Okay. So being a working employee, they also tend to work at home. Okay. There are multiple roles. They have to work, they have to perform the role as a housewife, they have to perform the role as a mother, they have to perform the role as a daughter-in-law, they have to perform the role as everything there. So there itself, they are doing more. It's there itself existed multiple role strain, as well as when they come to the completely the company, there is an issue of target achieving, time bound activity, and all other perspective, work related perspectives. So these are the issues. From my experience, I came to know that especially women gender women gender faces more when compared to men gender. But even though it is not differentiate, men also tend to have, especially people who are working in IT, they tend to have more targeted works. Okay, yes. For example, if this is the fixed target, the higher management asks them to complete more works. Okay. And
Okay.
as you rightly mentioned, that there is no legal measures here to solve these issues, and it's still going on.
Okay. Thank you, Muthu. Can you just tell me what you face in your everyday life? That is what I'm wanting from the audience. Like everybody, if they just tell one challenge they face in maintaining this balance.
So
Which
maintaining the difficulty of about work life and personal life is about the family maintaining and spending time, quality time with the family, and spending quality time ourselves is very difficult.
Okay. So time is something that makes it difficult for you, the amount of
Yes,
time.
yes.
Yeah.
Quality time. It's not about time. It's about the word. We have to use a word called quality time.
Okay. Why is quality time not possible if time is there?
See, for example, even though the time working time is from 9 to 5 or 4, not every day I've been asked to sit only at 4. Okay, there are at points of time I have to sit till 12 p.m. to finish the target. Okay, then there will be extra pressure to me to finish the targets,
Okay.
and I have to spend some time with the family. The family expects me to be there for them,
Yeah.
as well as I need my me time to spend myself. All this, rationalizing or differencing this time to each activity will be very difficult, because as a person I give more importance to my work rather than myself and my family. So what it in turns affects, it affects myself as well as my family.
Okay. Okay. Dr. Ramesh, you wanted to say something, please. Hello. Dr. Ramesh? Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah. Yes. Yes. Yeah. Pretty much what I was wanting to say. Muthu has pitched in and filled the gap. It's been a long time when I had such situation, but what I can remember is when I was a young trainee, good 20, almost 20 years back in UK, when I had little children and I was a trainee at the time, and the expectations of a trainee are very high, and I had to fulfill my role as a young father, school drops, going to the school meetings, and issues at school. Those things has to be done on one side. On the other side, the high expectation of a trainee to perform both as a doctor and as also as a trainee, wherein I had to fulfill my obligations towards my academic side of things. So it was a huge pressure on me. That, in a way, would be, if it's not done in a very um, careful and unsupported way, that can lead to disharmony in at home, and performance compromise at the workplace. So now who is responsible for that? That's another question. uh, am I able to change things on my own? Do I need support from my employers? We usually talk about support from employees is not great, is good. So there are those two parameters are not just that. I think a huge role is to come from the domestic side of things as well. If you're married, then your wife has to be supportive as well. She should be in a position to understand what is expected of you from your work friend. She needs to look at a very cohesive way. What are the expectations of a husband? And I'm talking about vice versa. If husband is there, then wife. It's not a gender specific. So there has to be an understanding from the partner what they can expect on that period of time. They know that their husband is going through a training program for next 2-3 years, what they can realistically expect. And then they can tinker the expectations around that, and they can pitch in with whatever they can for helping out. So that we it's fair. It's to think about just the employers. It is always not just the employers. It's also other factors as well. How much of support we can get from our spouses, how much of support we can get from other family members. So in my way, These yes, if you have a great employer, fantastic, problem is solved, and that very rarely happens. So the idea is to find a balance where to navigate through the expectations of the employers and also manage with the expectations of the family. How to do it, that's what is all the education is about and awareness is about. It's sometimes easy to expect the employees to change the working culture just like that, which never happens. It's a huge a metamorphosis of change that needs to happen. In the meantime, what can we do? That's where
That I will be coming.
professionals like yourself, yeah, that's where the professionals like you are so very paramount. So when Narayana Murthy came out with that ridiculous plan of 70 hours, I thought, okay, great, you guys did Infosys, and that was 40 to 50 years back. World was very different at that time. And at the time the gold price was very different. With one kg of gold at that time, they can buy a Maruti. With 1 kg of gold now, they can buy a Rolls Royce. So that's a vast difference. So that was a ridiculous statement that shows the generational gap. So what I think is the expectations are different, the changes are different. We need to change, and there is no blanket um, of solution for everybody. It is more subjective. Everybody has got different ones, and and that's where the education from professionals like you need to we need to understand how we can use that education to tinker our ways. I had a very difficult time at the time when I was training, but luckily my wife was able to understand over a period of time, not immediately, over a period of time, how much she can expect from me, and it took a while, and it took a lot of stress, and it did impact my health. But then it's a question of how you understand the current situation, how you can navigate it. That's where the whole thing lies in. Certain things we can't change. It's a question of how we're able to navigate those issues. That was my yeah. We had yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I just wanted to add here is like earlier, at least there was some legal uh, help from people because the labor laws said 8 hours per week. Now, but some states now actually have legalized 10 hours, 12 hours per week. So employers can actually force you to work 72 hours or 60 hours. So I don't know how people are going to navigate that part, right?
Yeah.
Earlier they could get away saying, "Boss, I'm going at 5 o'clock." Now they cannot do that because they're legally obliged to go and work extra hours. So that's another challenge we're going to face primarily.
So what challenge do you face when you're trying to balance? Can you share something?
No, I've learned the hard way, so now I balance my life.
Okay, so now you're balanced. So you don't
Yes.
have any challenge balancing it.
No. I have to tell people how to balance, basically.
Oh.
That's the idea.
Okay, that's great. That's great. Yeah. So let's go forward into the IT context specifically. Why is it very difficult for IT professionals? Because that is our target population today. So IT jobs require extended hours due to global time zones, deadlines, and crunch time before product releases. There is always online culture due to remote working tools. So even if they are not coming to office, they are expected to be there from home. So work from home culture has actually increased the work-life balance imbalance, I would say. So, and then we have the second thing is the project-based stress, frequent sprints, deliverables, and constant client demands. Okay, unpredictable issues like bugs, server crashes, and urgent updates that they keep facing. And work from home, as I said again, remote work challenges. So there is what this creates is a blurred boundary between professional and personal life. Even though some people consider home as a boon, it can actually turn out to be a very big challenge. Lack of clear end to the work day, which is the biggest thing when you're doing a work life balancing. So this picture, I think, clearly shows when you're working from home, a lady, she's carrying her baby and there is a lot in the background, and there is a phone that she's trying to answering. So these challenges are there, especially for even when you're a woman. And then in IT, there is performance pressure, job insecurity. There is rapidly evolving tech landscape, creates constant upskilling pressure. So this is, I think, a very important point. Like, uh, tech industry is rapidly expanding. We do get to hear so much of layoffs happening because of, AI coming over. So many professionals are not needed anymore. So there is a constant pressure of upskilling yourself so that you are in demand. So outsourcing and automation adds to fears of job loss. Then what does poor work life balance lead to? This is, I think, the most important part. The poor work life balance, as we all know, most of these things, that mental health is something that severely gets affected. You suffer from anxiety, burnout, depression, insomnia is very common actually, because of extended work hours, because of, so much of exposure to blue light, which IT professionals need to do, sometimes 2 to 3 screens running together. There's a lot of imbalance in the sleep that happens. Then sedentary lifestyle, back and neck problems. Once I went to a physiotherapist, and he just looked at me and asked, "You are having a neck problem, right?" So I didn't even tell what my problem was. And like, every person I'm seeing is coming with the same issue. So this is because of the posture of looking at a screen, or which we are again doing right now. So these are some health issues that are coming. Fatigue, relationships are strained. I don't need to talk about this. There is reduced social interactions. Family relationships get affected the worst way because of imbalance. You miss your important ceremonies, you miss important days, you forget your spouse or your children's important days because you're so much engrossed. So these get affected. You are not able to maybe carry out responsibilities that you're supposed to do, like, look after groceries or look after some bills, because you were not able to give time. Then there was work performance. Actually, the major thing that employers need to understand, that poor work life balance also leads to reduced productivity for work, creativity, and job satisfaction. So ultimately, it is a vicious cycle that happens. Yeah, Shahid.
Yeah, so maybe for benefit of everyone, so a lot of people use these words randomly, right? Anxiety, depression. So what actually are the symptoms? Maybe if you can break it
Yeah.
down for people, it'll help actually. I think,
Yeah.
yes.
So yeah, as you said, Shahid, very truly, anxiety, depression, these are loosely used nowadays. Like, I am depressed and all, but these are clinical conditions which we need to understand. So basically, suppose if your anxiety is a common symptom, maybe it is not a clinical condition, but when you talk about an anxiety disorder, which can be a consequence of poor work life balance, it usually means you are always on the edge, which means that you are always scared, or you're always fearful that something is, there's always an anticipation that something bad is going to happen. Okay. And it can, present in various forms. It can be in terms of you can have social anxiety. You may not be you are always concerned about how your performance is going to be. Hence, you are going to embarrass others. So there is social anxiety. There might be something like, exam anxiety, very commonly see. You're not able to perform during an exam. Then you have a generalized anxiety disorder, where you are always in an anxious mode about different themes in your life. So what is going to happen at work, what is going to happen about your health, or some near or dear one. And there is a condition called panic attack, which is very common. So because of some amount of underlying anxiety issues that goes on, there is panic attacks that a person has. There are, episodes in which they have increased heartbeat, and they feel like they are going to faint. And these people usually turn up in normal medical emergencies, where they think that they are going to have a heart attack, but it was actually a panic attack. But these are all additive in nature. All the things in their life, the stress, the anxiety, actually leads to this kind of mental health problem. Especially when you're vulnerable, you're more prone to such problems. And insomnia is lack of sleep. Basically, it can be of various type. It can be lack of difficulty in falling asleep. It may be less amount of sleep. You wake up early, and you may be not being able to have a good quality sleep. The sleep breaks in between. You are having nightmares. So these are all kinds of insomnia that are there. Depression is persistently having, when you're having a clinical depression, it's persistently you're having depressed, you're in a low mood for certain periods of time. So, and you're having loss of energy, your loss of appetite, you're not able to enjoy things which you used to enjoy well before. So these are some of the mental health conditions that are very common in when you are having a poor work-life balance. You're burnt out. Burnout is the final stage, like you are not able to do anymore anything. So what are the solutions? So I think one of the main purpose of this webinar is to talk about some solutions and what works. So as I think Dr. Ramesh also pointed out, there is something from the employer's side that can be done, but that is rare. Okay, and that is unrealistic to always expect. So can somebody tell any strategies that you have tried that has improved your work life balance, and how successful has it been? Like, I think Mr. Shahid, you yourself is saying that you have a good work life balance now. So if you can share some personal strategy that has worked for you before I go into a more formal introduction of strategies.
So for me, I've sort of defined my boundaries when I will work and when I will spend time with family and other things, right? It's basically what I define like work-life system. So there is work, there is life, which is family, and then there is others like hobbies and stuff. So that's how I've defined my life, and I've clearly defined that boundaries between each, and I spend my time between all these three differently. That's how it is.
Okay. Thank you. I think that is a very effective way. So, like, I think you have defined the first trick. So, the first and the most successful way is to prioritize and plan. These two things is has been repeatedly proved to improve your work-life balance, because we need to think about ways that what we can do right now rather than expect employers to make the change, or our family members to make a change. I know they need to be supportive, but not everybody gets a supportive wife or a spouse. Or how can you expect support from your children who actually need your time? Are they emotionally mature enough to understand that they need to be supportive of your work? No. So here comes what we can do from our side. I think that is the most important to discuss here, that what are the things that we can do. So prioritizing and reducing your procrastination is one way, and the best thing is time management. Okay, planning. So there is a lot of time that we waste when we come to work. Maybe we do some of the unnecessary things, like maybe we can check the other emails later. First work on what the targets we had. So there are a number of ways we can actually manage our time in a better way. We can also keep some of this time for socializing after we finish a certain target. So these way we can improve our planning. So this is a very famous matrix, like the Eisenhower matrix. So we divide it into what is urgent. Do Is this task urgent and important? Make it your highest priority. And then what is not urgent but it is important, so decide, is the task important or urgent? Schedule it for a later time. Urgent and not important, delegate. Does the task require your own input? Delegate it to a other person. So many of times we forget to delegate. That is another problem that some people have. Even if you do have a lot of people at your hand, we do not delegate the work to the other person, and maybe because we don't trust them, or sometimes many people have an issue with perfectionism. They will need to do everything perfectly on their own. So this is another way you can actually reduce your burden. And delete, that is not urgent, not important, delete. Not urgent, important, remove those tasks. So if you actually sit with your tasks that you have in a day, you and do this matrix, this is a challenge that you can actually take up. You will see there are a lot of things that you can delete. Okay, so this is, I think, the top most, I would say, advice. Even though we are not supposed to advise people, the people are supposed to get their own solutions, but this is the best way. So strategies to improve work-life balance apart from that. So first is setting boundaries. Again, Mr. Shahid had, clearly pointed out, and he is maintaining a good work-life balance. So setting boundaries is the most important way. So define clear work hours, unplug after that. Use do not disturb settings after work. So I will just share this common personal story. I had my supervisor when I was doing my PhD, and she would be unavailable completely during her what you call vacation or holidays, whenever that would be there. And it would be very irritating to most of us who were under her, like, why is she not available at all? Why is she not picking up her calls? How will I contact her? But somehow we used to see there was other options to get our work done, even without reaching to her. Now when I am in a supervisory role, I do get to understand the importance of having those kind of boundaries, being setting those boundaries, because it becomes very difficult if these boundaries get blurred. You're not able to spend time either in your own life also or in your work life also. It just get the work productivity also gets affected. So that is one, the setting of the boundary. So you have said that after this, I will not take up a call. I will not take up a call. But yeah, there are exceptions. There are certain professions, I think, where you cannot do that always. Okay. So that is there. Then we have time management, which I was talking about. So anybody knows about the Pomodoro techniques? Anybody can talk about it? Okay, so I'll just quickly go through. The Pomodoro means we do a task for a fixed amount of time, and then we do something that we enjoy doing. Okay, for another 5 minutes. And so we divide a long task into small parts, because sometimes that is what drives our procrastination. Okay, we are not able to do it because it's very long, or it's difficult. So we divide it into as many small parts as we can. We finish it for, suppose we concentrate for 15 minutes on that task. We keep a timer, and after 15 minutes, we do something which we want to do. Like, check your mobile, or, go on social media for 5 minutes. And then again, a 5 minutes timer is there, and that finishes. And then we go to the next part of the task. So this helps us with our breaks, as well as it, helps us with time management, attention, these things. Task prioritization tools are there enough to use. Avoid multitasking to increase efficiency. This is also very important. Then there are things like self-care, regular exercise, proper sleep. Exercise has a very big role in keeping you mentally healthy, because it helps with your sleep. It helps with, mental health. It helps with your mood. Hobbies and social connections, even half an hour of something that you like to do. Hobbies are getting forgotten. That helps in maintaining balance. Mental health support whenever you need, that is seeking counseling when overwhelmed. Continuous learning without burnout. So, and avoid toxic comparison with peers, especially in today's time when so much of it is on social media to see, where achievements are being put up in LinkedIn, and there is so much of comparison that we keep on doing. I do know very successful people who have actually just stopped using those platforms because they feel that the toxic comparison that they keep doing mentally with their peers actually affects their work quality. So that is something also we need to learn how to balance. And obviously for organizations, if it is possible, if there is a group who can actually ask for this, like flexible work hours, remote working policies, employment wellness, managerial support, healthy work culture. So normalizing saying no. So even in your own group, in your own office, you can normalize this behavior. And I would just end saying, don't get so busy making a living that you forget to make a life of. Yeah. So thank you. I think this was my presentation. We have around 1-2 minutes for some discussion, I think.
So, Dr. Ramesh, would you like to take it?
Yes. If is there any way of identifying that we are heading towards uh, zenith of difficulty in terms of balancing? How to identify there is a problem? Many times we take it for granted, as Dr. Mahashweta rightly mentioned in the beginning, to work hard, to work very hard without taking break, without giving time for oneself is considered as a good worker. Taking time off is considered lazy, which is very true in Indian context particularly. How to identify that there is a problem in work-life balance? Apart from domestic issues, is there any other way to find how to identify there is a problem? And second question is, how to identify that this balance is just enough?
Okay. So I think for the first question, I would say just take a moment back. Okay. And it will be enough for you if you just take a moment back and just ask yourself how much, what do you do for yourself that is pleasurable? Okay. Any pleasurable activities or hobbies that you have? Okay. And how much of time do you get in a year maybe to spend on that? And is there anything that you have missed out in your other roles apart from your work role, the roles that I mentioned, the other roles as a father, as a mother, or maybe as a spouse, or as a son or a daughter, some role which you have not at there is dissatisfaction, or you are not satisfied by how you are performing. Even if the partner might be satisfied, you might not be satisfied by how you are performing. Your parents might be satisfied, but you might not have that much of um, happiness about what you have done. So if you sit back and take a moment of thinking of all the different roles that you have in your life and how much you are contributing to each, I think you can understand that how much of balance is there. And as I said, the balance will not be equal, but is there any way in which I can improve that? And how much of prioritization do I do every day? How much of planning do I do? So these are some things that are important to, I think, look, take a moment and look back, take a look at your own mental health. Are you facing some sleep issues? Are you feeling burnt out? Are you having any anxiety issues? Is it because of your work? Is it because you're not having enough time for yourself? So these are some ways, I think these are the biggest red flags, the indicators where you can understand. And again, how, I think your second question was that how do you understand that there is enough balance? So as I said, there is no scale to determine that whether the balance is there or not. It's basically all your roles, whether you're fulfilling it to the maximum capacity that you can do. I think that, and each individual has their own balance, so it can't be compared with the other person. Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Mahashweta. Thank you.
And
Yeah,
if I
so
can add something that can socially situate this entire work-life balance thing, right? Because it's great looking at it from a psychosocial perspective. But the reality is the rest of the world can afford having work-life balance because a lot of times countries and citizens of places like India are slaving away. And in countries and economies like ours, it's a toxic 9 to 9 culture. It's not even 9 to 5. And we know for a fact that if we are burnt out, we want to leave, we want better work life balance, we are extremely replaceable. So, most often, people don't have the option to even think about a work life balance because they're struggling with basic things like having 2 square meals a day.
Yeah, I think that the social issue is always there, and the economic and social issue of the country that you're living in, and the
Mm-hmm.
work policies that are there. And as I said, organizations do have a big role in maintaining work-life balance for their employees. So it's not only at the individual level, but every individual needs to see what they can do best. But yeah, when you're talking about people who are, practically working for around 20 hours a day to make 2 meals,
Hmm.
it's difficult. These, I think, this becomes a luxury to talk about.
Absolutely. There's no doubt about that. And it is a very difficult to put in one box kind of an issue, right? Because work life balance is uniquely defined by each person's life and lifestyle and experiences. uh,
Exactly.
like you said, there is no scale to measure what a work life balance is.
Yeah, definitely. And there might be a person who is actually more happy with more work
Hmm.
and less of family,
Mm-hmm.
and there is other way around also. So it's very
Mm-hmm.
individual, and how they are adjusting with their preferences, with the people around them, and the roles that they have.
Right. And I don't mean to put down our own people, but Indians especially have a very bad reputation for being the worst managers. They bring their own toxic culture, work culture, into every other place they go. So I think ultimately we can talk about work life balance as much as we want, but what we really need is also compassionate culture.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I do agree with that. That
Yeah.
is something which needs to be worked on as a culture as a whole. Being a workaholic is not something that you're supposed to celebrate.
Yeah. And like the advent of social media, like every influencer talking about like maximizing your productivity and side hustle and this and that, it's just such an information overload for everybody.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. So those are my thoughts. I just thought I'll share them.